All right, Coach, congrats on the sweep here on a senior day here. Sarah Willis, fantastic once again. Your overall thoughts?
I just think the team as a whole played really well today, and all weekend really. Sarah pitched the best I've seen her throw, and she's thrown some really good games throughout the year, but she just really locked in and dialed in. Had the ability to mix some more of her up pitches today, and I love to see that she's developing those pitches and being able to use them in the game successfully. So, I'm excited. I'm excited for what this team has done and how strong they keep getting game by game.
15 of the last 16 you've won. 15 of the last 16 games you've given up 2 runs or less. I don't think that's a coincidence. Just talk about this growth of this pitching staff coming to the radio, because they've been as good as any in the country right now.
Yeah, and I think it all blends together. The pitching staff, our defense is incredible. We've made some great defensive plays, and even when we kind of maybe get ourselves into a little bit of trouble, we roll a double play right after it. So, and then our offense, again, everything's back to protecting the queen, and I just love the momentum of where we're going and how we're being ourselves and playing a little bit freer and taking more risks.
I remember we talked after the UNF game, which is kind of where this streak kind of started, and you told Kennedy when you put her back in the leadoff spot, take the reins, because you were still trying to find a leadoff hitter. I think you found she took those words wisely. 7 hits this weekend against Houston, including that big 2 RBI 2-out hit. Just talk about her in that leadoff spot and really helping this offense, taking it to a different level.
Yeah, well, she's really set the tone for sure, and I again, just like you said, talking to her, being in that leadoff role, she's done it before, and then she kind of took on some different roles of hitting people in more or less, but now she's doing both, and so I like having her start off our momentum and then finish it with those, like you said, the 2-out 2 RBI to just give us more run support. But Kennedy's doing what she does. She hits the ball by them, she hits the ball in front of them, she bunts the ball. It's very hard to defend her, and it's very hard to pitch to her. So, and she even had that line out for her last at bat. I just told her, hey, you can't have them all. So it's just, again, incredible to see her starting to get back into her groove, feeling healthy, and doing her thing.
I remember you bringing up when you talked about Chloe, you were excited about what she would bring from a run producer standpoint, so you're not surprised she's the 9th night to get over 40 RBIs in a single season. But you never brought up her triples. She's got 7 now, one of the nation's best, and 1 away from the school record. Just talk about her overall game, because she played some good outfield too in a tricky day with 40-mile-an-hour gust winds.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I actually caught her working on her stride in the outfield during some downtime, and I brought attention to it with the other coaches. I'm like, look at Chloe, look at what she's doing out there. I said, she's working on her stride right now. And so when she came in, I just, jokingly said, hey, defense is for defense. And she goes, what are you talking about, with a smirk on her face? I said, I saw you practicing your stride out there. And then she comes up with a hit, so it's all those things matter. But yeah, again, for her, I think she had maybe a couple more home runs at Minnesota, and I think here it's just turned into triples. I didn't know she was going to be the triple hitter either, but proud of it, love it, and how aggressive she is and how fast she is also helps with it too, especially on our field. So I think there's more to come for her too.
We didn't get a chance to talk, but Grace, really tough spot. You're following a pitcher that literally threw a perfect game. There's a lot of pressure with that. I mean, there's obviously motivation, but there's pressure, and she handled herself very well in her own right and shutting down this offense. Just talk about her, because you've been there. It's not easy following a pitcher that throws a historic game like Sarah did.
Yeah, well, and not only that, it's even the other team is just fired up and ready to hit the ball, right? So the only 2 big hits off of Grace, she just kind of missed the inside corner a little bit. Otherwise, I think she throws a shutout as well. But I thought she did tremendous and got stronger as the game went on. And again, that's something that she's, started to grow and learn and develop, which has been awesome. And her changeup really came around yesterday. So when Grace's changeup is on, along with her fastball and her spotting her fastball, it's very hard to beat her.
Sarah went 11 innings without giving up a hit against that Houston lineup. She was, for a while there, looked like she might join Shelby Turner as back-to-back no-hitters. But what can this weekend mean for her and her rest of their career? Because you know this, there's always that moment in a player where it just goes in a higher level than before. This feels like that. I mean, she might be in the mix to win National Pitcher of the Week the way she's been pitching this weekend. What can this weekend mean for her?
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's those moments can really define you, and you kind of like look around and you're like, oh, yeah, I can do this. And again, we talk about her role has been very different from her years past. And so to take on the role that she's doing, especially with the schedule that we've had, is not easy. And she's done it and gotten better every game she's thrown. So I think there's more to come.
Senior Day, Unique, you honored Elise and obviously some of the staff. Just talk about the Senior Day today and Unique there, especially with Elise and Kelsey, obviously part of the student manager, just the whole day in general.
Yeah. It's always great to be able to honor our seniors. And, with Elise, we try to just look at the positives. Obviously, it's very sad that she isn't able to finish her career playing. But she did a lot for us here in her time while she was playing, and she gets to go on to grad school at Rice, and so we're really blessed and proud of that. But I just kind of whispered to her, I said, hey, I was the only senior on my senior day too, and I said, so that means that we're like the special unicorns, if you will. But I just think it's awesome to be able to honor them. It was pretty cool to see the reactions of Kelsey and Spencer and Mateba of how they were so blessed and just excited and surprised that we were going to honor them in that way. And Spencer's dad actually told me, he said, yeah, he told me to come out for this. I didn't know that we were going to do all of this. And he said they just are so appreciative of how we treat them, but I in turn want to tell them is no, they actually treat us that well. So it's great to be able to honor them because education is everything, and you can never take someone's education away from them. And so it may look different from a senior player to a support staff to one of our managers that we hope to keep around for next year.
Last home game, a big crowd on a Sunday noon game for Senior Day. Rowdy, I was telling Sarah earlier that the crowd, I think, was going to go after the umpire on Friday. They would have called the ball 4. But speak to the support from Knight Nation. We've talked about it all year, but coming out in droves here, last American Conference game, going over the Big 12, though. But there's a connection between this fan base and this program now that maybe wasn't before. And certainly winning helps, but there's a connection there. They're living on every pitch and knowledgeable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Knight Nation is always super special across the board with all of our athletics. But I believe with softball, just what we're doing, and they get to really learn about our team. We're out there, we're in the community, and so they get to learn who we are, not only as softball players, but as people. And that's why we have the events where they come down and run the bases, and we do the autographs, and we spend time with them, and it could be a couple more hours that we, or an hour or two earlier that we could be at home. But those things are important to us because our fan base is huge. And when you're at home and have that fan base, like you said, of cheering you on, I mean, it's definitely an advantage. It's hard to beat any of our teams here at UCF when you're playing at home. And so it's important that we acknowledge them and take care of them too. But I think for softball too is just, you get to see it, like Kennedy and Nini running after that ball and Kennedy catching it and Nini falling down, they're laughing and hugging. I mean, you see it on other teams where they might get mad at each other for those things, right? And they just love playing for each other, with each other. And I believe that the crowd sees that too. I believe our fans and our Knight Nation sees that as well. And it's definitely appealing. It's noticeable and appealing, and you want to be a part of it in any way. So it's a special, the best way I can say it is it's just something special.
Obviously, you got a lot of games to go. You got more conference games left with Memphis next week and then the conference tournament. But today was your last home game, hosting an American Conference game. The next time you'll be here will be as members of the Big 12, and the next time you host a conference game, it'll be a Big 12 game. The league has been good, though. It's been a good league chapter for this program, and helping their growth has been the Americans. So just talk about that kind of unique chapter.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I know it's been coming, but when you say that, like, now it's actually coming. You know, it's here. It's incredible. Like, there is going to be a new chapter. It's going to be something new. It's going to be exciting. It's new territory to kind of go through and navigate. And so it's definitely, again, I'm going to say it's going to be exciting and learning through all of that. But you know, we always play as if we're protecting the Plex, and so we that's something that we really talk about, is like playing like we're at home all the time, because we play very well at home. So,
All right, Coach, congrats.
all right.